Hello, everyone. This is JPL, and today I'm joined with
Christopher.
yes, and we are podcast name in
In
brackets.
brackets.
How are you doing today or tonight, Christopher?
I'm fine. So it's my birthday. Essentially, I'm taking tomorrow off because
Nice.
it's basically 11 show weeks. So it's just a heavy time. So I'm like, you know what? The best birthday present I could give myself is to shorten my week to a 9-show week.
Nice.
So I'm taking tomorrow off, but this weekend's just been really busy. Like yesterday, I was at a church party and I stayed till like 7, and they went on longer. Today, I had lunch with somebody. I had a work event, and then I'm doing this with you. A full day tomorrow. I might go to Springfield to get some things, and then I might try to sit down and be productive. But then I was also invited to another thing. So we'll see. This weekend's just been a lot busier than I wanted it to be. But
not to mention tomorrow's Halloween as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not really doing anything specifically for Halloween.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Yeah.
it's gonna affect some of the environment and sure whatnot.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not doing anything for Halloween this year either, so.
One little thing I did do is I got like cupcakes, but like my roommate likes Halloween, so I got like Halloween themed cupcakes.
Of course.
So, for me for my birthday and for him for Halloween. So I was like, yay.
Yeah.
How have you
yeah. Oh, I mean, I've been fine. Like, haven't really done a whole lot this past couple weeks. Of course, my bucket list video came out. It was very disappointing because it didn't really get anything. So eventually, I was like, I'll make a short version of it for Instagram and TikTok. And of course, that one did much better, but still.
Oh, did it? Nice.
It's the one that you sit on for a long time that doesn't really do as well as you hope.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a shame. Most of the views in that video were just me making sure that it's a good video. So, it's fine. It is what it is. If people watch it 10 years from now, that's okay. That's what it's there for. So, yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out my Disney video. Because just thinking of like the mess of it that I have right now, it's just it's gonna need some restructuring. So I'm gonna have to do a reshoot of something. So
you've already filmed it, I guess?
I filmed the main portion, but I might film some VO to just help bring it together. So we'll see what I do with it. I haven't really touched it because it's not really my big motivation at the moment.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, I did this thing. Now what?
So I brought my phone charger to work on Saturday. And I know I put it in my jacket pocket. And then since then, I legitimately have no clue where it is. And it's the worst, man. I don't know.
Yeah, gotta get a new one or something.
Well, I mean, like, I have another one, but, like, it was nice having two. And this other one, like, it's a little, like, bulky, and I, like, kind of need to charge my phone right now. I legitimately, like, I don't get it. I don't know where it's gone. It makes no sense to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get
Oh my gosh.
Losing stuff ain't no fun.
It really isn't. But like this one, like I feel like sometimes when you lose something, sometimes there's a moment where it's like, yeah, it makes sense how I lost that, right? This one, I'm like, it makes no sense how I lost this one. No sense.
Sometimes it just falls out and you don't notice.
Well, I'm so ready for it to fall out of nowhere. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, that's gonna, yeah, that suck. Because like it's also like a jacket pocket that could like zip up. So I probably thought it was secure, but
is it that jacket you're wearing?
No, I checked it. Okay. I put it in the hamper right now, which I haven't washed yet. Yeah, I have no clue, man.
Yeah, I always have to keep my hands in my jacket pockets because like I don't trust some pockets just hold my stuff.
That's fair.
It's like constantly check. It's of course that's just me living overseas, just being paranoid of do I have everything.
That makes sense.
It's like, oh man, I don't want to lose this thing in public, so I got to constantly check my pockets.
Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna do a quick something, and then I'll be a little more settled. I apologize.
Yeah, just move around.
Yeah, just move around.
Birthday stuff, you get to do whatever you want. We can record late at night.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, also speaking of that, I'm probably only going to do an hour again. So
whatever. I mean, what do we have to really discuss a whole lot of?
I don't know. Yeah, we got actor strike hopefully resolved by the next time we record, but
hopefully. Because like the meeting that they were just at is like that's their last thing until next year.
So that's what the studios are threatening, but so far they are discussing things. So
yeah, we'll see.
I think SAG just released a statement saying there's still some things that they're still far apart on. So probably it's going to still take at least a few more days, but hopefully by the next time we record, we'll have a solid update of sorts.
Hopefully, like it's not postponed till next year again.
Yeah,
like that's just. It's no crazy. Bueno for everyone involved to have to wait 2-ish months or even 3. Because
I'll say I heard a very interesting rumor, and I hope it's true, and it makes sense to me. Because of all these delays, studios are starting to get a little more serious about physical media for next year.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes logical sense to me, and I hope it's true, basically.
Yes. But yes, I did message you earlier in the week where I said Apple TV. That's just a note from me. And the thing is, they're increasing their price by $3. Which...
I have 2 thoughts. First off, there's a few other things Apple is increasing the price of. So like Apple Arcade, Apple News. So those are also going up in price. But also, I will say, at least Apple TV Plus is still like the cheap streaming service. But it still sucks.
I mean, I feel like it's about the cost of just... Because with this new thing, it's about $10. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't think the price is worth it anymore. So with that price cut, so it's like, oh, okay. Now there's even less reason to want to watch it.
I have a thought. Yeah. I think there are some people who might have a lot of streaming services, and that's very money draining. I think there's some people who are very cheap and will go to services like Tubi because they're not going to spend money on streaming services. But for someone who wants to spend money on a streaming service, in my mind, Apple TV Plus is the best option because it is the cheapest, generally high quality, and even though there's not a lot, here's the thing, like you're still spending, you're going to spend who knows how much amount of money for about the same amount of content you're going to watch. So like I could spend double that for Netflix.
I will see. Netflix has like hundreds of different IPs from different things, so there's a lot of stuff there of maybe stuff that you know and want to see. Apple TV, what do they have? Charlie Brown, and maybe 1 or 2 things.
They have Ted Lasso. They have Severance.
Yeah, but like
they have The Morning Show.
That's not fully mainstream. Well, as other stuff, like they don't have films that come and go. that's not theirs, that they licensed there. Like, you can buy things on Apple TV to rent, but that's not the same as, oh, we're going to have these films on here for this month. It's like, oh, it's just all of their original stuff, which is obscure. It's high quality obscure, but it's still just obscure.
So my point is, for people who simply want to watch content, it doesn't really matter to them how popular. I think Apple TV Plus is still a solid place to go.
But no, like,
you know what I mean?
I don't think you should increase your price by $3. Like, you should increase slowly over time, like $1 each. Something. I mean, that's what every other thing is doing. And so when you add that high number, it doesn't feel good.
Well, also speaking of that, didn't Netflix recently increase their price to a ridiculous amount? The top tier was like $20, and now it's $24.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty significant jump as well.
Yeah, that was another bad one. So, they're whatever. Whatever,
I do feel like part of the recent price hikes is some of the studios freaking out over,
of course,
the SAG, the deal that may be made soon, and so Netflix is like, oh, we need to make a little more money because we don't have enough money.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna lose some money. Let's raise some price to hopefully get some more money to help with the cost. Yeah. So it's business.
Another streaming piece of news. I don't know the exact number, so I'm estimating, but I'm trying to lowball it as best as possible. Okay, Peacock in the previous quarter lost $300 million.
Okay.
If I remembered correctly, it's more like 380. But still, that's an insane amount of money to lose. And again, I think that's just another reason. That's another streaming is not profitable moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I don't know how Netflix does it, but like companies like Amazon and Apple that have your shopping or your phones to financially support your streaming. Like it seems to make a little more sense for them to maintain it, but I legitimately wonder, like, are we going to have a Peacock in 10 years? Are we going to have a Paramount Plus in 10 years? I'm still. I'll be honest. I'm curious how it'll play out because.
Well, Peacock does have a free option, and that's probably.
Okay, but my point is, like, can you imagine losing $300 million over 3 months? You know what I mean? Like, and also like the free option that has ads, and so like that should be helping, but I don't know how.
It could be a thing of like, oh, they're spending so much money to get the films just out of cinema onto them.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the money is.
I just don't understand.
I don't know what's going on or how it works.
Well, anyway, speaking of Apple, though, like we got Killers of Flower Moon and Napoleon that will be going to Apple TV Plus. So I think Apple intends to spend $1 billion annually for theatrical releases, and so you pop a movie in the theater and it goes to Apple TV Plus, and as time goes on, Apple TV Plus will have a growing amount of theatrical titles. So that's something to look out for.
Sure, that's something hopefully that will make the price worth it.
Yeah.
Other things, YouTube has been making a bunch of changes.
Have they?
Well, on the computer UI, I just don't love the way the things look now. Again, like every time they change something slightly, it just doesn't. I don't love it. So when you click, when you're on your main page, just on YouTube, and you want to go to your channel, you click on that little image, and usually it has my channel on that thing. Now they moved everything around, and it's like the button where your channel used to be is now called Google account, so that'll take your Google account. And your YouTube Studio button which was higher, is now much lower, and your channel button is this small thing.
Interesting. I I have noticed like on the phone, like they changed the app a bit, but I've not really explored it a lot.
I noticed that too. I don't love it. Let's see. On the phone, looks like they maybe fixed that. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. You know, that's just nitpicky. I don't like when they change design. But no, YouTube has been going to war with ad block recently, and it's just.
I saw CJ tweeted about it.
Oh yes, like I've been.
That made me laugh.
Yes, like I knew that this was coming. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then CJ got hit. He's upset. You know, I've been watching a lot of YouTube on TV, and so I've been getting the ads. I don't like the ads, but it's worse on computer because the ads are less your basic TV ads. On computer, you'll get some other ads.
Interesting.
Like I don't know, like third-party ads that aren't from professional companies.
Well, okay, speaking of that, I've noticed like there have been some really cheap ads by big companies like Walmart or Wall Street Journal or something that have really cheaply made ads that I see running on YouTube or other platforms. And it's like all the same template and so basic, and it's shocking to me. I want to know more about that, but I don't know where to look at. And honestly, I'm not really going to take the time. But I don't know. At least they're not annoying per se, but it's also like they're so cheap.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just a small inconvenience. It's a big inconvenience, but it's something that's really not the worst thing in the world. But the safety, the censorship and safety concerns that ad block does is valid, you know. But I think for me, I hate mid-roll ads because they used to not be what they are. Now they just play ads at like every 2 seconds. Before, if you had an ad in the middle of the video, it would just be like this pop-up text that you can X out of, and the video would still play. Like, it didn't stop the video to play an ad. It was like, pop up, here's the ad. I miss that because why stop in the middle of the video to play an ad? It's YouTube.
It's back to the age of TV.
Yes, and like in order to get rid of that, you get YouTube Premium, which is like $13 to remove ads, and it's not worth it because what else do you get? Not much, maybe some music, but.
Bro, remember when YouTube tried to be a streaming service themselves and they had like YouTube Originals and they don't do that anymore?
Yeah.
Like at least that was incentive to get YouTube Premium back in the day.
Yeah, I mean that made sense.
Interested you. But now, first off, they're still stuck behind that paywall for basically a dead streaming service because YouTube isn't doing that anymore. So that sucks. And it's like, okay, if I don't get additional content, what's the point?
Yeah, like maybe you get music Spotify thing for YouTube Music or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
So like they also have like movies and TV shows that you can watch for free with ads. Maybe it takes away the ads of that, but in that it's just Peacock, essentially.
So, what was the thought? Oh, right. So, like, there's there's one time I watched a movie on Tubi, and there were a lot of ads, and it probably was more like consistent to like watching a movie on TV back in the day.
Yeah.
In terms of ads, but I will say, YouTube is not as bad as that. As rough as YouTube can be.
No,
like it's not as bad as.
At least at most you'll get like 2 15-second ads in a row. Like that's the worst you can have. On average, Tubi's ads last 90 seconds.
Yeah.
For like once every 2 minutes. As much as I want to watch stuff on Tubi, I'm like, I can't. There's just too many ads that last way too long for something not worth it.
Only if there's a movie I really, really, really want to watch, I'm not watching anything on Tubi.
Yeah, no, exactly. If I can't find it anywhere else, I'll watch it there. But generally speaking, I wish Tubi had an ad-free option.
I think it comes down to like the licensing, like that's just not part of their licensing model.
I know, but like I wish that they could set something up like that.
Yeah. Because also the sad thing is like Tubi is basically the wasteland for the movies that no other streamer wants to stream, and which is great that they're able to be accessed, but then it also sucks because I'd rather watch it without ads.
Right.
So I mean, there's a degree where I have a lot of respect for Tubi for existing because like for example, it's not streaming on Tubi, but I just decided, look, where is Citizen Kane streaming? It's not streaming anywhere. Maybe it's streaming on the Criterion channel. That I didn't check. But like when I in the Roku search, Citizen Kane, it's not streaming anywhere. You know what I mean? So especially a lot of older movies are not being streamed on streaming services. So that's one great thing about Tubi is that it can have some of those older movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Citizen Kane comes and goes off of Max every once in a while. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So they have Criterion come and go every few months. So Citizen Kane, I know, is one of their films. Although I haven't had Max in a couple months, so maybe they're changing some things. But
yeah, I'll probably. I've never seen it, but I was talking to somebody and he recommended it, so I might pick up the Criterion copy at some point. So
I mean, yeah, that's classic cinema. So
yeah, I guess like again, I prefer my physical media. I'd rather own it, and it doesn't have ads. You know what I mean? Worst areas are the trailers at the beginning. And the most that is just replicating a theatrical experience if you can't skip them.
Right. Yes. So in terms of just things that I've watched over this past couple weeks, I haven't watched any TV shows. Okay. I've only watched like a couple movies for podcasts.
Yeah, you having fun with that?
Monster High. So it's a really rough start, but like it's slowly getting better. But I've mostly been watching like YouTube videos, just like some stuff that's like, okay, I'll watch some classic YouTube things, like mostly gaming. I'll watch compilations of like some of my favorite content creators, or just right now I've been watching a bunch of Among Us stuff because I don't play Among Us because there's no one to play with. Yeah. They had a new game mode come out this past year called Hide and Seek, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's kind of sad. It's hard to find people to play with.
That's probably one that you can just go into a public one because you don't have meetings. It's hide and seek.
Gotcha.
So gotcha. It's pretty fast paced and just live. Yeah, and so the only movies outside of some Monster High is I watched another Fast and the Furious movie. I really think they should have stopped after the 7th one.
Well, guess what?
They didn't.
There's 2 more after this one.
Yeah, well, there's Hobbs and Shaw as well.
Oh god, I forgot that exists.
Which just came off of Peacock, so I can't watch it. Which is I just missed it. It's not streaming, and it's not streaming anywhere else right now. So
should have hurried up.
I have to wait to finish the series.
So are you gonna wait for Hobbs and Shaw?
Yes.
Why? Because that's not.
That's when that film came out before 9 and 10. So
yeah, but
if like it has no connection, I still want to watch it in order. So
John, you are so stubborn, man.
hey, you know, what if they have that one mention? What if the main villain appears? Probably not, but they're gonna have a reference or two. I just want to be there to be like, okay.
You know what's my theory? Because because Dwayne and Vin Diesel had that feud. So I would be shocked if Vin Diesel would have allowed there to be a reference of Hobbs and Shaw. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Dwayne is in the other films.
Dwayne isn't in the recent ones.
Oh, wow.
Because of the feud. They had some feud.
Well, I'm gonna wait either way.
Okay.
I know it's DLC, but
what does DLC mean?
DLC is it's a gaming thing. I'm gonna look up the. It's called downloadable content. It's basically it's stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I understand what it is.
No, it's stuff like that creators make for their games after the game came out. It's like, okay, we want to add an extra level. You have to download it, so it's a DLC. That's what the rest of these films are. They're DLC.
That's fair.
That's how I view them.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other big thing that came out, the new Spider-Man game came out.
Oh yeah. So, are you playing that?
I don't have a
no,
PS5.
You need PS5. Dang it.
No, I just watch it. I'm not gonna spend $70 on it. So
yeah. Were you enjoying what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the first game the most in both story and combat. I like the story of the second game. I don't like the way the combats, they switch some things. You don't understand anything of that what I'm saying, but they do a really good job in general of having this version of Spider-Man. It's really solid.
Okay.
Disappointing in some aspects, but solid.
Okay.
There's been so much Spider-Man stuff to come out in just the past 5 years alone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And most of them has been really good.
And you know what's happening next year?
Nothing.
No.
What?
Madam Web.
Is that still happening next year?
I haven't seen anything about it being changed. I would, honestly, if the strike goes on longer, I would imagine them delaying it because I bet they would want Dakota Johnson for, press stuff.
Probably.
Because, I've seen nothing about that movie. I don't think that movie has a lot of hype. So you swing Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney around some shows, drum up a little bit of hype.
Coming out as well.
Yeah, that is. What, August at this point or something? October?
I don't care. It looks terrible.
I don't care about it either. But I guess that's our Spider-Man content for next year.
I mean, we just got Kraven in this past game, and that's like 100% more Kraven than we saw in the trailer. So, the only other film that I watched this yesterday, is the new Five Nights at Freddy's film. Yay!
May I ask for a spoiler?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any reference to Living Tombstone or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Reference. Would you like me to say it?
Yeah, because I don't plan on watching it, and there's nothing special with me or Living Tombstone or Five Nights at Freddy, so I don't care.
No, he of course made fan music, and one of his most popular songs is a Five Nights at Freddy's song, which played in the end credits of the film.
Okay, that's cool.
which was really cool. Like, the film was just all about the fans, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was trying so hard to be, like, good for the fans. You know, they got Game 3, Matt Pat in it. They were supposed to get Markiplier, but he was busy. And we know the role that he was supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when watching that film and seeing that role, I was like, oh, man, that was perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be the perfect way to do that in this film. I'm so bummed that didn't happen. But really, the film, outside, if you're not really a fan or just part of the community, it's not a good film.
Mm-hmm.
It's like basic, like you could get some enjoyment out of it, but like it's not high cinema. But
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it
Mm-hmm.
on a baseline level in that, like, yay, Five Nights got a movie. You've been waiting a long time for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly care for Five Nights, but I enjoyed it casually in my youth. So, yay. 3 out of 5.
Nice. Who knows? Maybe they can get Markiplier for the sequel.
I mean, that the creator was saying, like, hey, we do a sequel, we have to get you on board.
Mm-hmm.
They really want Markiplier. Like, he is one of the faces of the fandom. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Markiplier has that movie coming out, right?
Yes, that's what he was.
Excited about that?
I'm excited for him. I don't really care. I saw the trailer. I don't know if it's for me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a huge into Markiplier. Like, I'll watch some of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he did a bunch of choose your own adventure film game things. Those were a lot of fun. I enjoyed those. I like some of his gaming content.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. I have no idea what this is. Like, maybe I'll check it out when it comes out, but like, it's not really on my radar of important things to see.
Okay. That makes sense.
Well, we'll see next year.
Yeah. My roommate really wants to see it. I don't know if I will see it with him, but he wants to see it, so.
I know nothing.
That's all I know.
So.
Yeah. I think also my roommate is, I don't know how much he knows about the game, but he's definitely a Markiplier fan.
Sure.
So I'll say, like, for me with Markiplier, like, I respect the guy. I just know practically nothing about him. Mm-hmm. My roommate did put on the video when he was talking about his life, so I know his base life story. But like, I never watched him. I've nothing against him. I don't think that's technically usually the YouTube I tend to watch. So, right. I'm not a gamer, so it just, respect to him, but he means nothing to me at the same time. So
I watch him like once every couple of years or once every other year, depending on what comes out.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy, though. So
yeah,
I mean, the little bit I've seen, I kind of like him, but not enough for me to be like, I'm gonna watch his YouTube channel.
Sure. Yeah.
So is it my turn?
Sure. Yeah.
Probably mentioned last time of me and my roommate trying to watch Pachinko, but it's mostly my fault. I'm the one who's either like tired or something else comes up, and so it's always my fault that we're not watching Pachinko. So we didn't watch Pachinko at all, so we're still stuck at the first 2 episodes. So hopefully this week we can get back to that. Just a moment. We watched some South Park. We're in season 11. Letterboxd has been kind of freezing on me, so they can release an update soon. I'll fix that. Dang it, wrong thing.
Has it been freezing?
All right. Yeah, it has been. Yeah. Okay, so the last movie, I think I mentioned was Weird Al, right?
Yes.
Okay, so next was the release of Barbie, and so my roommate said, "I'm gonna buy that on Blu-ray when it comes out." So I'm like, "Sweet."
Oh yeah, you were talking about that, yeah.
Okay. Did I tell the story though?
You went on one day and it wasn't there.
Did I tell that story actually?
Yeah, you said. I think you said like after we record, you're gonna go to the store or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Or
Cool.
you were gonna go the next day. Is what you were doing.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so my roommate's working, so I was gonna pick up the Blu-ray for him, and he'd pay me back, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the store after work because I didn't wake up necessarily early enough in the morning, and plus I figured, okay, it's Barbie, the biggest movie of the year. Walmart's gonna have enough copies. Well, guess what? They didn't. So I go home bummed. And I'm like, you know what? We're still in a movie. I'm still in a movie mode. Let's watch a movie tonight, instead of watching pachinko. So we watched Crazy Rich Asians, which is fine. It's not a great film per se. It's not going to tickle everybody's bone. I do appreciate, like I've said, similar to like Wakanda Forever, how it shows like cultural differences, and I think that concept is something that not a lot of people really pick up on as it relates to cultures. And I think just more people should be aware of the fact that cultures don't mix well together all the time. Oftentimes they clash, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think more people should understand that. I would like to have more concrete thoughts about this. I don't necessarily. Anyways, so the next day, because like when I searched for the Barbie Blu-ray in my on the Walmart app, it didn't say anything about like the store being sold out. So I was positive they just had copies in the back, and they'd replenish it in the morning. Because I mean, when I went to the Walmart, it was like 10 minutes before close. A handful of employees are already restocking stuff, and me being the introvert, I didn't want to talk to anybody. Honestly, I don't want to. It's always those times when they don't ask you, "Oh, can I help you?" is when you actually need the help most.
Right.
They always ask at the wrong time. Anyways, so we said, "Screw that Walmart." We went to Target. And guess what? At Target, they didn't even have the tags out for Barbie. The price tags. This is Wednesday. Barbie is supposed to come out Tuesday. Bro, Target should have Barbie. So you know what we do? We go to Best Buy. And guess what? Same thing as Target. So do you know what I said? We're going to Sketchy Walmart. So we went to Sketchy Walmart, and Sketchy Walmart had a lot of copies of Barbie on Blu-ray. So we picked up Barbie on Blu-ray at Sketchy Walmart.
Yeah, speaking of Walmart, like they just made their DVD section shorter, smaller.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I've kind of noticed that too. They kind of like took out one shelf, made it like a Crunchyroll section.
Yeah, they did that, but like that used to be the anime section, and now it's just a Crunchyroll with a third of the anime stuff, and then the rest is just collectibles. Like there's a whole shelf of collectibles where TV show stuff used to be. Like I just hate that they keep making that thing smaller. Like I keep going there.
Did we talk about Best Buy?
No.
Yeah, so Best Buy said bye-bye.
What?
You know what I find really funny is they said we're going to keep our DVD section through the holiday season, but it's gone after that, basically. There's one scooper who says the last like studio exclusive runs into like February of next year. So basically after like February, like Best Buy is going to discontinue selling DVDs, Blu-rays, whatnot. And in a statement, they said something, "We are committed to, new technology," or something. And I found very ironic in that statement is that at Best Buy, they have a section of vinyl records.
Wow.
Modern technology at its finest, man.
Well, their DVDs were overpriced in general, so
Yeah. I was hearing something, and one person was making comment. Best Buy hasn't been making a lot of money with these anyways, and so honestly, it's probably not going to make that much of a dent in as it relates to physical media. But again, it's just really interesting how as Walmart's shrinking again. Target is also shrinking.
I know Target.
So really, physical media is really becoming the business of the mom and pop. You know what I mean? Now there's more of a demand for those kind of stores because those are places that'll actually sell it. I find that really interesting as it's exiting the mainstream. Because it's funny. Because what killed the mom and pop stores? Walmart, Amazon. You know what I mean? And while Amazon will still sell stuff, but Best Buy's not doing it anymore. Target and Walmart is shrinking. So the mom and pop stores can kind of come back into existence. Because they'll actually sell it. It's just really interesting. But it's also interesting what you said about Walmart is the fact that they recently invested in so what I think it's Warner and Universal have a physical media production company, a joint thing. I think it's called Studio Distribution Services. I think that's the name. And Walmart recently just took a major stake in it. So I was expecting Walmart to go a little harder with physical media, but now what you mentioned, like the Crunchyroll section, I don't know what Walmart's doing, because Walmart is still very responsible for physical media sales. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, we have two Walmarts over here, one over here on Wars, and the other one's over by Boonesboro or something. That one is a much bigger Walmart and has a larger DVD section, which they haven't yet. Smallden, although I haven't been over there in a few months, so maybe they have. But that's my last hope of getting some good stuff that's not Finding whatever that is. But Barbie, anyway, you watched Barbie.
I watched Barbie. I don't know. It's a very, I don't know, movie where moments I really enjoy, moments I wasn't super jiggy about. It's interesting. It gave me a lot to think about. I spent the next day or two just really thinking about what was presented, and I thought I really appreciate it for making me think, though.
Sure.
But I'm not in love with the movie, and I think also a lot of people were mentioning that how funny it was. And I didn't find it as funny, I feel as people were making it out to be. Mm-hmm. That's probably a mean thing, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But I will say, the Billie Eilish song at the end of the movie actually had me weeping. That just hit a spot for some reason. So,
okay.
Oh my God. So, it has to do with car accident and severance stuff. So, because it's just talking about feelings and what it means to be human part. So that really struck a chord with me. But yeah, again, Barbie's a very interesting movie to think about. I think the one significant thing I will talk about that I don't love about the movie. So, spoilers if you haven't seen it. So at the end of the movie, Ken's crushing on Barbie, and so at the end, Ken is like, "Isn't it supposed to be Barbie and Ken?" And Barbie's like, "No, it can be just Barbie and just Ken." And it encourages Ken to be his own person and discover himself and all that. And first off, I commend the movie for going heavily green, being as self-deprecating as it is, against Warner Brothers, against Mattel. I think that it's wild to think that this movie, made it out the way it is on those marks, right? So I can kind of appreciate, it going against green on those aspects, but also let's be honest. If there's no Barbie, there's no Ken. Ken was made for Barbie. Mm-hmm. And I bet if we have a sequel for Ken to explore his story, okay, I feel like that's a little something else, but the way we left it off, like, that is not who Ken is. Ken was made for Barbie. Ken is not some individual person. Ken is not played by boys. Girls don't just play with Ken, as far as I know. You know what I mean? So that just, if we're being honest, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But also, it's a weird thought about a general push on individualism in society. And again, that scene in Barbie heavily pushes that. And I don't necessarily think there's a baseline. There's nothing wrong about being your own person. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think I'm starting to see this heavy trend towards it, and it's unhealthy. Because if we're being honest, most every single human is meant and built for companionship, specifically marriage. But if we're going to really try to push people over the edge to be their own person and live, independently, that's not very healthy, because that is not how most people are built. I think there is something to be said about learning about who you are and learning your tics and how you interact with people, or how you can make a difference in the world. Right. But to declare that the world is only full of just Barbies and just Kens, I think is a dangerous precedent. Personally, that's what I believe. I think a friend made a comment like the COVID era kind of was. COVID made a lot of people, have to live, individualistically, you know what I mean? And that didn't work for many people. And again, that's kind of just, contributing to the idea that we can't truly live alone, or be our own, simply only be our own people. And again, there's some people who are not built for marriage. So that's awesome. You know what I mean? Not everyone is meant to marry, but I hope what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, I really appreciate this movie for making me think about it, because I never thought about it specifically that way. If someone has a contrasting opinion about that, how I'm wrong or something, I'm curious to hear about it. But that's something I really thought about, and I guess kind of broke my heart a little bit, because I'm like, that isn't just like, it's not for everybody, basically. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the next movie was my roommate bought this at Walmart, and he really wanted me to watch it. Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about it?
It was the first Ghibli movie that I saw, and I saw it where I was like an infant into the world of like anime stuff. I didn't really care for it back then, so when I finally watched most of the other Ghibli films, I didn't rewatch this one. So we'll have to see what I think about it whenever I do rewatch it again. I think my biggest gripe was with the ending. But yeah, that's about it.
What about the ending?
I think I just remembered not loving the ending or something.
What's your thought about Ghibli movies in general? Especially if they follow a similar pattern to this movie. Or style.
Do they follow a similar style?
Okay, so my roommate was talking about, because I was commenting about like how like chill the movie is, and like it's not like it has a story, but like the movie isn't meant to drive its story. The story takes place naturally to a degree, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So now that you've seen a handful of Ghibli movies, how do you feel about that style?
It really depends on the content it's being presented. I think I liked it in some films more than others. For sure. There's some concepts that like I really enjoyed. Others I didn't love. And so it really depends on what speaks to you.
That makes sense. I think with Howl's Moving Castle, again, it's my first Ghibli film. So there's an element that I appreciate. Elements. But also I don't get it at the same time. So it's this weird in between where it's like I do appreciate it, but I also really don't get it. So I'm kind of like stuck in this in between. But I do skew more towards liking it than not. Again, it is such a style that I've never seen portrayed before. So yeah, it'll probably take more Ghibli films for me to appreciate this in the future. But it's intriguing. I'll give it that, you know?
Yeah.
The next movie I watched is from the director of Parasite. It's called Okja. It's a Netflix original that Criterion released. So I got the disc from Criterion a few months ago and finally watched it. And it's a hybrid Korean English movie. I gave it 3 stars out of 5. Parasite was, the way the story was told was very creative. And like the director has another like highly regarded film among others, but one called is it Memories of a Murder or something like that? I can't. You'll if you Google it, you'll be able to find it. Okay. I don't know how that story is told, but that movie was like 2000-ish, right? So it's 20 years old. So I think and it's highly regarded. So I think going into Okja, released a few years before Parasite, I had pretty high expectations, and the story isn't very strong. Like if the flow of the story feels very American and basic. Like I could give pinpoints of the story, and you'd be like, oh, you could pull that from like a superhero movie. Like, oh, that's like the same, like,
right, yeah,
river path basically of how the story moved. I mean, I'm not saying the story itself isn't unique. I'm saying the way the story is told is quite generic. And I mean, to be fair, I don't know how else to tell the story, but it didn't help me love the movie. The movie is endearing at times and heartbreaking. The movie is quite humorous and goofy for its subject matter, which relates to like the meat industry and animals, basically.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And even animal cruelty. So it's almost, they're very different movies, but it's like, how Guardians is pretty funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different style of humor, but it's also like, you told a serious story with moments of humor. And still at the end of Okja, you're just drained at the end of it. So I've found that the usage of humor very interesting. Yeah, I think like knowing you appreciated Parasite, but it's not fully your thing. I don't necessarily think Okja is something that you're dying to see. I'm not going to push you.
I'm not. It was one of those things that was like everybody was talking about it when it came out.
Really?
And I was, yeah. I mean, I saw a lot about it when it came out on Netflix, because like Netflix originals were a new concept for films back then. And so I was like against watching it for some. You know me, I'm against watching new things. Or at least I wasn't as open-minded as I kind of am now. You remember that? Well, it's pretty much that. Where it's like, I don't want to watch it. I don't care about this weird hippo-looking thing. It doesn't look good. That was just my high school edgy opinion back then. Similar thing to La La Land, which is the next film that you saw.
Yeah. Well, I'll just end off. I don't know how much of a Jake Gyllenhaal fan you are, but if if any of you are, he's the reason why you should watch this movie, because he just went nutty in this movie. So if you want to see Jake Gyllenhaal get nutty, this is the movie to watch. On my end, Okja and Far From Home are the only movies I've seen Jake Gyllenhaal in, which in both movies he doesn't play a good guy, basically. And so, as much as my roommate tells me to like Jake Gyllenhaal, you guys are doing a very good job at it. Not La La Land. Okay, so yeah, what are your thoughts about La La Land? Have you?
I've seen the first half of the film, which was forced upon me,
of course,
by my friends. I didn't really care to watch it at all. You know, I don't care for popular things, especially that year specifically, 2016. Oh boy, that was a year in general.
Was it 2016?
2016 was just a year in general. Like we think 2020, but like 2016 was before. That was the 2020 of that time. But yeah, that film was forced upon me. At least the first half of it, I didn't really care for it. And I heard about the ending and I was like, oh, well, that's even lamer. The music is good. It's catchy in some things, but I should probably give it a chance again one day, considering I'm a theater guy. But
I know.
Like back then, I was like not really interested.
Okay. So I'm going off the trail a little bit. What's your thoughts on The Greatest Showman?
I haven't seen it. Again, it's like everybody talk about it. It's popular. Me, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't really like Greatest Showman that much. La La Land is solid. I'll say that much. I don't know what I rate it yet, but it was solid, and I love Emma Stone. She is so good in it. And also, honestly, pairing her with Ryan Gosling was also inspired casting as well. So they are incredible in the movie together.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I do feel like the beginning could be shortened a bit. The opening sequence honestly does nothing for the movie. It's a literal bone for theater people. So I think the beginning could be trimmed down a bit. Next, South Park released a special called Joining the Panderverse, and since it's released, I've seen it on social media a lot. I'm not in love with it, but like, you know, I'll take new South Park, and I enjoy new South Park. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah. It was my birthday, so I did something very, 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 very special. It had been a while since I've seen my favorite movie of all time, WALL-E. And more importantly, I'd never seen the movie in HD because we only had the DVD. And while Windows Media Player does a good job at upscaling, at least at the time from my virgin eyes, from what I remember seeing, I, this year, have started collecting Blu-rays. And WALL-E was one of the first ones I decided to buy. And WALL-E was one of those movies that, as much as I loved it, I felt like I had seen it too many times in the past. So I wasn't anxious to watch it anytime soon. But I was like, you know what? It's my birthday, and I'm kind of feeling it. So why not? Oh my God, man. Yes, WALL-E is still my favorite movie of all time. There's no other movie that I love as much as WALL-E. WALL-E is my favorite movie of all time, and that's not changing anytime soon.
I'm happy.
Oh my God, I love this movie. And I think also, like, just watching it, it's incredible how detailed it is and beautiful it is. And story, I love it. And I think also, like, for WALL-E, it's quite daring on its end, for especially a lot of people like, where's the talking in this movie? I think, you know, this movie helped me to try to appreciate, you know, deeper pockets of cinema. So, man, WALL-E, man. I swear, if any of you guys have not seen WALL-E, please watch it. Thank you. My gosh. So good. So good. Anyways, last night, me and my roommate watched a movie. starring Eddie Murphy called Coming to America. My only exposure to Eddie Murphy was honestly when he hosted Saturday Night Live, and I'm like, you know what? I love this guy. I had seen the first 10 minutes of Shrek, and as much as I hate the animation, I do say, I am if I ever try to watch Shrek again, it'd be for Eddie Murphy. That's the only reason why I'd ever try to watch Shrek. So, anyways, I'm like, Eddie Murphy's great. And so on Netflix, Coming to America is leaving. And let's watch it because some other things we were thinking about wasn't really hitting spot in theory, in the mind. Watch Coming to America. And yeah, Eddie Murphy's great in it. The movie, I found it hilarious. It was great. I loved it. I loved it so much. Loved it. At work tonight, someone wanted to host a Halloween party and thought it'd be a great idea to show the masses Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. And so that's why I just came back from seeing. My only exposure to Wallace and Gromit is the Moon episode. We forgot the crackers.
Yes.
So that's been my exposure to Wallace and Gromit in the past, and my practically the only exposure. So this is my first time seeing anything Wallace and Gromit outside that one episode. It has its charm, but it also, I don't know. I think for me, I was also a little more concerned about the presentation because I brought my projector to, set things up and such. So I was just very much like on the edge and just wanting to present a good presentation, basically. And I think it went very well. I did forget my Roku remote, which sucks. So I drove home to get that.
Okay.
So, anyways, but I mean, the movie has its charm. It's enjoyable in its own right, but also I wasn't 100% jiving with it at the same time. And honestly, again, just might have been because I've been on edge.
Sure.
But, I mean, if you like Wallace and Gromit, it's great. It has charm. But I didn't fall head over heels for it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my list.
So let's get into some mixtapes here at the end here. Yeah. So let's start with your mixtape that you sent me like half an hour before we started.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought you were cutting it close last time.
I really cut it close this time, but it's also like for me, like I didn't listen to your playlist until I sent you my tape, so I'm like, you know what?
Sure. Yeah, I get it. Whatever. But yeah, for your mixtape, it was the May songs, top 5 of May, and that was. Do you want to quickly tell us what songs they were?
Yeah. So from 5 to 1 is Blue by Arbor Season, Ghost of Me by Make Them Suffer, Part of Your World reprise as performed by Danielle of New Jeans for the Korean dub of The Little Mermaid, 23, Spicy by Espa, and Classic by Ive.
Okay. So starting with Blue, I think I enjoyed Blue the most from this one. It was a fun, chill vibe that I enjoyed. I think it was a bit of a countryside thing. I don't fully remember. But that's highly contrast to Ghost of Me, which I did not love.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that it was just too much for me. Too much of what I didn't love, which was just hard and fast. That's the best way to describe it. Just too hurt my ears is what it was. So I didn't love it. The quieter parts of that song, I was like, okay, there's something here. But most of the song where it's like your thing, I was like, okay, wow, I'm not into that. So part of your world, the reprise, I, I, I think the original song from the original film is pretty good. I didn't love the dub here. I just think that it didn't quite fit. And that's probably going to be the same thing with the not dub of this film. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say, but musically, it's good. Of course it is. It's from Little Mermaid, but vocally, it's different, for sure. Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't what I look for in something like this. Spicy was basic. Just basic. Yeah. Just basic. It's just pop.
Fun. It's just fun.
Pop. And I think I enjoyed classic a bit. But yeah, like I said, Blue was probably the one that I enjoyed the most. It was the peaceful one.
Mm-hmm. To throw you a bone for Ives Classic, that's one of their Japanese tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Since you tend to like the Japanese a little more than the Koreans, thought I'd let you know.
Whoa. I mean, it's true. I've had a history.
I will say, I'm not the most familiar with the original Little Mermaid. I really want to watch honestly, both Little Mermaids. I want to watch both. But I was just thoroughly impressed by Danielle's singing abilities, basically. And so I got chills when I heard it. Okay. They used the reprise in like one of the trailers. I'm like, oh my gosh, so good. I listened to the soundtrack. I loved it. Listened over and over. I thought it was solid. But yeah, that also comes from me not being familiar enough with the original. So there is that. Cool. Your tape. Let me.
My mixtape, which was the Brony mixtape. So it's a collection of Brony songs that were both really popular at the time, and also most of them were part of the Brony polka at the end. And so the songs are Sinking Ships from Dawn Somewhere, Lost in the Moon from Wooden Toaster with some Living Tombstone, Love Me Cheerily from Wooden Toaster with some Tombstone, Nightmare Night from Wooden Toaster and Mike the Microphone, and then finally Beyond Her Garden from Wooden Toaster. That's the last one of that one. Discord from Living Tombstone. And this one was like his most popular song until he made his Five Nights at Freddy's one a couple years later. Pinky's Brew from Sherlock Anthropology from Awkward Marina. And Lullaby for a Princess, which is a song from the Ponyphonics, but I included the animation here from Warp Out just to give you some visuals because it's a longer, softer song. And then the Brony Polka, which is from Animated James, but I included the animation here because it's more energetic to watch. So there you go.
There's a handful of songs like Sinking Ships, Pinky's Brew, and Anthropology that I assume the voices are based on the characters. And honestly, I just do not care about them.
Based on the characters?
Vocally? I don't know.
Yes and no.
More annoying cartoon voices, and I honestly, I don't understand the context, and it's just annoying to me, basically. Okay. So some of those songs I just straight up just didn't enjoy. Okay. Most of the songs are kind of just like it kind of exists. You know what I mean? I don't have too many thoughts about. But also like I don't get a lot of context, like the polka, which is fun, but also like yes, I was able to catch I think Anthropology and Discord. Those were the two that I was able to pick out listening to it. But you know, I don't know these songs. It doesn't do much for me, but it's fun, and I can acknowledge that the people who love it Love it. I think one of the songs that kind of did stand out to me was "Lost on the Moon." It kind of sounded fun.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not done. Big finale. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
There's one song I actually legitimately loved. So much so I listened to it twice. Once while listening through this and once afterwards because I'm like, oh my God. I listened to it and I'm like, this is so good. So stirring. And like I could take seriously as its own song, basically. It's a lullaby for a princess.
Okay.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
Okay.
It just, oh my God. The vocals are so good. It's such a stirring song. It's beautiful. Oh my God, John. That's practically the best song you've ever showed me.
I was worried about that song. I was like,
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, is he gonna love that one? It's kind
I
of
love it.
It's kind of different from all these other ones.
It's my favorite one. Oh
That's
my
why
God.
that's why I included the animation as well, because I wasn't sure that the vocals alone would do it.
I love it. I love it
Okay.
so much.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Ponyphonics. That's the group. If you wanted to ever look into that,
Ponyphonics?
I'll send you a link to them. They do non-pony stuff as well, but that is their most popular song
Gotcha.
that they've done. But
yeah, I really liked it.
I'm happy. Like that one, that animation and music as well, just reached outside of the fandom because it was really popular. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad. I'm glad
50
to hear.
million plus views is insane.
Yes, for sure. And like they took almost 5 years on that animation, so I'm glad it worked out for them. And the song is beautiful as well.
Yeah, loved it. It's to be fair, I wasn't the most concentrated on the visuals or the lyrics, but
sure,
the song itself is so stirring. I love it.
Okay. Well, that was not. Yeah, that's pretty much how I expected it to go, except for Lullaby. But okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess what your next mixtape is?
Man, I don't have any guesses if I'm being honest.
Okay. Well, I figured it's like, okay, well, you just listened to the Brony mixtape. It's only fitting-ish to give you the Pony mixtape, which is songs from the show itself that inspired all these other songs. So, on the Pony mixtape, which we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you'll enjoy them, but the songs are Winter Wrap Up, the Flim Flam Cider Song, Smile Song, This Day Aria, Raise This Barn, The Goof Off, Under Our Spell, Friendship Through the Ages, Magic Inside, One Small Thing, A Better Way to Be Bad, and The Magic of Friendship Grows. The versions of the song may differ from Spotify than from this playlist. Some of them might have dialogue from the show, others may not, whatever. But these were the songs that I felt like best represent the show and also could work best without some context. So, yeah. Hopefully this is better than the Brony stuff. Hopefully. But
I hope.
Hopefully. You might not like it. You were just saying you didn't like the cartoon voices, and so it's like,
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, again, I think if I watch the show, then I get the show's context, and then therefore I can appreciate the voices to a degree.
Well, to be fair, those were like pale imitations of the actual voices. Also, like they weren't all actually imitations. They were just something.
Gotcha. So I got for you,
Yeah. You got me something?
Okay, so I picked songs that sound good. Okay, and I think this was one of the ones I struggled finding songs. So please forgive me for this. Off-Road Minivan and their song called "Pity Sex." They got Teenage Wrist featuring Soft Cult. Their song called "Still Love." From Is 9, their song #Me Now. The official artist name is Lee Chen-hyuk Video. He's a member of a group called AKMU, which he has some official solo stuff, but this is more like a project, so that's the name he has for it, which features Itzy vocalist Chiryong, and it's called Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, that thing. And the top song is Electric Hallway with their song Every Time We Touch. So that's my next take for you. Yep. So we'll talk in 2 weeks, I guess.
We'll talk in 2 weeks. Again, I hope you don't die. That's all. That's always
listening to the tape.
Hope. Yes, you know.
I hope not either. If I die, I'm not going to be happy.
Different. This is like different style of music than you're used to. So
it's one thing for it to be a different style of music. It's another thing for there to be like layers of context. You know what I mean? Like the Ruby stuff. You know what I mean? Like I was able to pick out 1 or 2 songs I enjoy, but for the most part, like I don't have a level of appreciation. Even like the scores. You know what I mean? I don't know these movies. I don't know these games. And there's not enough going on in many of the songs for me to be like, oh my gosh, I love this. So it could be similar with the Brony. The Pony mixtape. Again, the Lullaby for a Princess. Love that song, legitimately. Like that's probably my favorite song you've showed me yet. But
okay, really, of all the songs I've shown you,
of all the songs you've shown me, yeah.
Okay, well. At least you like something.
Yes.
Anything else you want to address today?
No, not really.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.